morning. It's 9 o'clock, October the 8th, 2021, and our regular Commissioners Court meeting is now in session. First item on the agenda is roll call by our County Clerk, Mary Jane of the Island of Illinois. Good morning, Mary Jane.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Judge Rathmel,
Present.
Commissioner Mendoza,
President.
Commissioner Elizondo, Commissioner Solis,
Present.
and Commissioner Garza.
Present.
We have a quorum, Judge.
Thank you, Mary Jane. Will everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As I mentioned earlier, there are quite a few folks here. We do have a sign-in sheet. Those of you who wish to address the court during the public comment section. Chief, is it listed there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Judge, will this, yes, the one, this is speaking for the court?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you bring that up and I'll call them, and those that didn't get a chance to sign it, we can certainly allow it. Thank you.
Sir.
Next item on the agenda is communications, commissioners. Anything going on since the last meeting? I think we do have an update on our COVID testing, and I think the chief, do you have any numbers for us today? Chief Javier?
Yes, Judge, I'll just be brief. Our numbers have significantly gone down, which is a good thing, so my report will be brief. Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So Moderna vaccines given by the Fire Department and Emergency Management Offices since last Commissioner's Court, which is September 20th and 27th through October the 8th. There's been a total of 37 Moderna vaccines, 10 first doses, 16 second, and 11 third. Total Moderna vaccines given by the Fire Department / Emergency Management since first started have been 2,881. COVID tests administered since last Commissioner's Court, 183. Total number of COVID tests administered by the Fire Department, 2,295. And vaccine availability for the county, we still have us, the Fire Department, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 9 to 3. Moderna first, second, and third doses available. We also have CVS, Monday through Friday, 9 to 7, Saturdays and Sundays, 11 to 5. Pfizer, first, second, and booster doses available. We still have the National Guard coming to our community center Tuesdays from 12 to 7, administering both Moderna and Pfizer. DSHS office as well, Monday through Friday, 9 to 3, and they offer both Moderna and Pfizer. And Daniel's Pharmacy, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 10 to 5, and they only offer Moderna. As far as COVID testing availability for our county, it's us, the Fire Department, still doing Tuesdays and Thursdays at the community center from 9 to 3, and Gateway and Daniels, you would have to call for availability.
Chief, you had mentioned to me something about a change in the booster eligibility, or is that still ongoing?
Yes, it's because there is a difference between the booster and a third dose. The third dose is considered additional dose.
Okay.
Booster dose, the only booster dose available is the Pfizer. We are not looking into that because we currently don't carry the Pfizer. But there is Pfizer availability in the county, which I mentioned, DSHS, CVS. The third dose, which is what we give, which is the Moderna, is considered a third dose, not a booster dose. So the third dose is only available to people who have a severely immunocompromised system, or if their doctor approves of their third dose.
Okay, so 65 and over is not.
It's not considered, 65 and over, it's not considered a candidate for people with hypertension.
Okay, at this time, yes.
At this time.
You know, I've been getting calls back and forth, and I remember we had that conversation. I just wanted to make it clear.
Yes, because they're changing. We have meetings with DSHS basically on a weekly basis, but it continues to change on a weekly basis. Back in August, they reached out to us and told us to go ahead and start after September 20th, to go ahead and start administering the third additional dose to anybody as long as it was 8 months after their second dose. Come September, they gave us again and they told us to stop that and only do the severely immunocompromised or if their doctor approves of it. And this is just with Moderna. And that's the one we study and we look into, because that's the one we offer as far as county-wise.
Very well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dan.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I think, overall, a report on the total tests that, have been conducted in our county. Up to now, 19,959 tests have been conducted. Out of those, 1,669 have confirmed positive, 18,201 have been confirmed negative. There's 520 that were confirmed probables. 2,113 have recovered. It's an estimate. Inactive, which is a good sign for us. We only, as of now, only have 33 active cases, and unfortunately, we did have a substantial loss of life because of the pandemic. 44 is the number we still stand at, but things are getting better, and that's a good sign. Any other communications?
Well, since last budget meeting, I have talked to many constituents regarding the commissioner position salary increase. Although we can no longer amend the budget, I have voted in favor, and I voted in favor of the raise. I also decided to sign the affidavit to reduce my salary to what it was back in 2020 to 41,676. So I want to thank everybody for being out here, but just for the record, I'll be signing that affidavit today.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Same here, Commissioner, I'll be doing the same thing. Thank you for being here, but I do believe that the other elected officials, so they can also consider it, but if they don't, it's a very well, raise for the other elected officials, so. But myself, I will be signing the affidavit, Judge, also, because I know, you explained it to us, and I will be signing it myself.
Well, I want to thank the community for coming together and doing what the community should be doing and working together. That's the only way we're gonna make this happen. I heard you loud and clearly. I've been following Facebook. I see I guess what it rattled up, and I'm listening. We work for the people, so we are here, and I will be signing that affidavit. I heard you loud and clear.
Very well said.
I mean, just for the record, we still want to hear the speakers. Of course, they're going to speak on behalf of the petition. As you all well know, when we had the first budget hearing, the salary increases were proposed or requested, and then discussed at the second budget hearing. We had one individual that came forward to express their concern for it. If this amount of interest had been present, I guarantee you that the direction the board took would have been different. But now that we see all of you all here today, we are here to represent you all, the constituents. We are your voice here on Commissioner's Court. We are elected by you to serve and be your voice here on Commissioner's Court. Now that we know that there are so many of you that are against this, and that it was perhaps an irresponsible decision on our part, we're here to make things right. So I too will also reject my salary increase for this budget year.
I will do the same thing, Judge. I will sign the affidavit, and I would like the $1,000 across the board that y'all gave us. I refuse that one too.
Well, the residual will be, Commissioner, you will go back to the 2021 salary. So
That's fine.
that was just in the proposed budget,
Okay,
and of
that's
course,
fine.
the final budget is what.
Correct, I'll do whatever it takes.
Okay, so basically, all elected officials, all Commissioners' Court, including myself, will be at our current 2021 salaries. And I think it's, I applaud the Commissioners for reconsidering, and basically, that is the only option that we have. The statute regarding elected official salaries is very clear. Once it's approved at a Commissioners Court meeting and a hearing, we can't do a round two and say, well, we don't want it anymore. The only way is by affidavits as to what the Commissioners have stated this morning. So that is the solution, the remedy that is available to the court at this time. But Commissioners, I want to thank you for reconsidering, and I think, members of the public, we'll move on to the members of the public.
To add to communications, I just wanted to let the community know that we are working with the USDA, where I've had several calls. We're helping the community that want to apply for a USDA grant. This is a loan for home repairs. So I know that I have posted it on my Facebook, I will talk to Karen so we can put it on the newspaper. The judge's office also has those applications for people that would like to apply for a grant for home repairs. You have them there?
Yes.
He's had them for a while, Monica has them. And, we just urge you guys to also let the community know that there are home loans for, there is an income guideline that they need to actually, qualify or fall into, but they're there to help the community with home repairs, the ones that need it too. And, oh, and
Good
also,
program.
yes, and also, the Board of Patrols are having a fundraiser at the CVS. So if y'all wanna stop by and buy a plate, at the CVS, it's for the Board of Patrols, I think it's for the Christmas, that they buy the toys for, this blue Santa. That's it, thank you.
So just for clarification on the affidavit, it'll be up to each just for the public's knowledge, it'll be up to each elected official individually to reject that raise. Unfortunately, the court does not have, as you mentioned, the authority to wipe it out across the budget, so now it'll be put on each elected official because all elected officials receive raises. So now it'll be up to each elected official whether they decide to rescind that raise on their own behalf or not.
Judge, for the record, Flora Martinez, Sister Clerk, I have signed the affidavit.
Judge, can I approach?
Yes, Sheriff, good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
In fact, you're the first on the list on public comments. But since you're
do we
the
start?
elected
Do we
official.
start?
Yes. I'll call on you, sir. I'm gonna go down the list and then, we will allow everyone to come to the podium.
The
Yes.
reason why I want this, if you all could hear me, that's why you all have the microphone in front of you. We can hear 80 or 90% of the people around here don't can hear.
Microphone's on.
65.
Mike, the-
My mic isn't
Are you
working.
able to speak a little bit louder?
Okay, yeah, mics are on, but yeah, we will speak louder.
And Commissioner Mendoza's not working.
Okay. All right. Sheriff, good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. As an elected official, I as well will sign the petition, because I feel that, my guys work their butts off, and, our main priority is the security and the safety of our citizens. Whatever my guys receive as raises, I'm happy, but I do think all of them should get an equal raise, including the deputies and my brass, because believe it or not, we're out there 24/7, and, I'm gonna put it up to the court. But, for me, I'm gonna work alongside them, and in my office, we're all equal. So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to do the equal raise for my guys. But I will sign the affidavit, and, I will still be protecting Zapata County to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any other communications? We'll move on to public comment. And this section provides, the public the opportunity to address the Commissioners Court on any items on the agenda. I have a list of citizens that wish to address the court at this time. Of course, the sheriff went first. Second, Ms. Alicia Garcia Richards, a taxpayer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good morning.
Good
My
morning.
name is Alicia Garcia Richards. I'm a native of Zapata County. I no longer live in the county. I live in San Antonio, Texas, but I'm still a taxpayer here. And I had come to the meeting today to address agenda item number 10, which is the petition and the raise that, the commissioners had proposed.
Yes.
And given what just transpired, I just
So
want
we
to say.
kind of stole the thunder. didn't we?
Yeah, well, but I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you
Yes, ma'am.
for doing what the responsible thing is for the county. And I want all of you to know that I personally feel you're very deserving of it. I know all of you work really, really hard. The issue is the financial condition of the county.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I lived here all my life growing up, and oil and gas is the primary industry here. And unfortunately, the last few years, we've seen what's happened and deficit budgets, and we're all living through pretty hard times. And I know it's hard for you all individually too, to not be able to take the raise. So I appreciate what you're doing for the county and for the leadership that you've taken. And I just want to say that we all have a responsibility here. Commissioner Mendoza, you mentioned that there were some hearings and the people had the opportunity at that time before this to voice their opinion, to speak to how they felt about the races. And I just wanna say that that's on us, that's on the taxpayer. We have to take responsibility for that. And I wanna say maybe there was some complacency on the taxpayers' parts, and we just need to be a little bit more diligent in what's going on in the county and here at the court. And I just wanna say that I think what happened here is that a lot of the constituents were unaware of what was going, of the race going on. And it's on all of us to be aware of what's going on in the court, but we weren't. And I think, as is evident here, once people did find out, they voiced their opinion. And you did not have to sign the affidavit, so just I applaud you for doing the right thing for the county. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.
So, and I just want to say that as an idea, I didn't, even before this, I didn't want to just come up and complain or gripe. That's not what I'm here for. I also feel if I have something to say, I should also offer solutions. And I want to applaud the people of the county for being here at 9 a.m. on a Friday. But I know there's a lot of people that might have wanted to be here, but they're at work and they're unable to make the meetings. So I'd suggest that if possible, that when discussing items as important as a budget that has such an effect on, great effect on the taxpayers, that perhaps if you can have a second public hearing after hours at 5 or 5:30. I know it also places, an additional burden on you to be here and the time to be here, but I think that would be helpful because there are people in the county that care and are concerned, but they can't be here at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I just want to offer that as consideration. And then I also know some first responders are here. And so given what's happened, what's transpired in terms of COVID in the last 19 months, in terms of the races, I want to say that all of y'all are deserving, all of you, and everybody here in the county that works for the county. Thank you for all your hard work. I know all of you work really hard. But the ones that I feel worked the absolute hardest were the first responders, the sheriff's department, fire department.
Sure.
And I just want to say thank you. And I wish the county did have more money to go around, especially for you guys. But I do feel that what you're doing is the right thing. And hopefully the economy of the county can improve, and hopefully in future years you can provide these races.
Yes, that is my
But again, thank you, and thank you for doing the right thing, and thanks to all the county employees for all your hard work. It's
Thank you very much.
appreciated for the taxpayers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Mr. Ricardo Guevara. Adjournment has, it's number, I can't make out the signature.
It's probably
We
we thought it was a sign-in sheet, we just signed right after.
Oh, so you don't,
Yeah.
oh, okay, Mr. Ángel Chapa? Morning, Mr. Chapa.
Morning.
Good morning. First, I'd like to say that I'm happy with the decision that is made, and it's a great day to be a Zapata citizen because, look at everybody here.
Yes.
Everybody came together, everybody noticed what happened last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's just, comforting to know that everybody cares about this town as much as I do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
That is all.
Mr. Fernando Castillo.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, my name is Fernando Castillo. I'm 36 years old. I live here in Zapata for more than 20 years. I'm very thankful for you guys for the decision you guys made. It was the right call. My question is, it's about the golf course. Basically, why? I know that we're obligated to buy the golf course, and my question is, why is it a good idea to buy it when we don't have any money right now when we're in the hole? I heard also that the nursing home is closing down, or it might close down. It might, but I think that's a priority. This is a recreational and this is a need. I'm here to represent the elderly people. I will not stand by and just let that happen. I don't want them to send them to a cabin on the radio because there's a lot of people that can't travel over there. I don't think that's fair, and, yeah, I just wanna know why is it a good idea to buy the golf course?
I can respond, Mr. Castillo, on two of those questions. On the nursing home, yes, that was a concern. I became aware a couple of months ago, the representative of the owners reached out to me and said they were thinking of closing. It was a family partnership, and they wanted to move on. I immediately started looking, inquiring, see how we could continue to keep that nursing home open. I have good news to report that a local group that is in the medical healthcare business has agreed to purchase the nursing home. I've gotten the two parties together, and it's moving forward. So on that front, it's very good news. The nursing home, which is an essential part of our community, is going to stay open. On the golf course, yes, it's certainly a something that is debatable as to whether we need it or not. Certainly, we could not afford it without the help of government funding. We did apply for a Parks and Wildlife grant last year with the full intent. If that funding did not come through, there was absolutely no way that the county would enter into a venture. We did receive more than half of the funding, or are in line to receive more than half of the funding for the purchase of the golf course. And I think the decision is always difficult to say, okay, it's not an essential part of our community, but it does affect the quality of life in our community. We have a golf course, we've had it for many, many years. It does have a certain attraction to our winter Texans that come in, visitors that want to participate. Is it something that the county can afford? That is a very good question. I think the price, and then with the help of the funding that we will be receiving from Texas Parks and Wildlife, might make that a reality too. We'll have 122 acres, the county will, in the middle of the town, that only half of it is used for the golf course. The remainder would have other possible uses in the future for the county as we continue to grow. So we looked at all the pros and cons. I think in the end we decided Parks and Wildlife wanted to invest in our community, that state funding. I think we were almost obligated to continue the process of trying to acquire. But your concerns are very well.
Yeah, because, I mean, those people can't be here, so I'm here for them.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
but that
I don't
is
benefit anything from that, I'm just here for them.
Sure, very well. So thank you, Mr. Castillo. Ms. Joyce Currington.
I'm here as a citizen this time. I'm retired.
Good morning, Joyce.
So anyway, I've got a lot of different issues, and some of you are aware of them, and others aren't. And right now, I'm kind of representing Lakefront Lodge. Lakefront Lodge is, it's attractive for the senior citizens, a lot of winter Texans. The roads are an issue, and I've already talked to Joey about it, and before that, it was even an issue. These roads need to be repaired. The owner did he purchased milling, and they've been working, and I have a maintenance man with me, has been working with these side roads, but they need to find out what roads belong to the county. Because these people go out walking and there's injury risks. So these roads need to be checked, and that's why, and Joey had promised, and he got busy, so I say this, and never even called. But I have found out, I talked to Memo, and he did tell me that you contacted him, and there's tentative plans of this afternoon of going over the maps and finding out what ones belong to the county and what ones belong to the county.
That's a simple task. Well, we can help with
Yeah,
that.
and then also I want to commend you guys, and I also, this isn't on it, but I want to commend RSL, because I never get woke up in the morning. Their equipment is so quiet. And I know every Monday morning, my trash is going out, whether it's one bag or it's full. So to me, it's worth it. And then as far as the golf course, that's needed also for the youth. That wasn't brought up about. Zapata has nothing for our youth. We've got a bowling alley that stands empty. They need a swimming pool at 90% of the times. So those are some things that might be considered that some of the people in the community get involved with. So anyway, I think that just about takes care of it. But like I said, I'm retired now.
Thank you, Joyce.
It's always good to see you, Joyce.
Well, you know what, and of course, I had to get Norberto to say it.
Yes.
Joyce to the world.
That was my every meeting thing. So, yeah,
Thank you.
and I commend you guys for everything that you're doing, because the county is a lot of money, and it's a big concern, personally to me. And, you know, like Lakeland's had a lot of break-ins. I had a theft in my property. My electric chainsaw. So, you know, we definitely have need for our community, for the sheriff's departments, the fire departments, and others. So,
Joyce, adding to your, RSL comment, I also wanna commend RSL, because every time I call them, I need one of those, what do they call them, bins, or those huge ones, containers, roll off. I call them and they'll, they're always there to, Genaro Sanchez, you call Genaro and he'll take one, so, I also commend, RSL for always helping me out. when we
but
have
another
events.
thing, I have got a concrete slab that I have tried to get rid of, and I've even been out there with the jackhammer myself. The other things I did with the sledgehammer, I can't do it now, especially after being in the hospital or something. But I need somebody that would like to have a bunch of concrete to fill in someplace, come and get it. All you gotta do is take it apart and haul it off.
That's good. Put the word out. Okay, Joyce, thank
The
you.
word is out.
Okay. Mr. Sonia Montes, I think that y'all were scanned, right?
Yeah.
We
Okay.
accidentally signed that one.
Juanet Garza, Mr. Garza? Morning. Can you approach the podium, Mr. Garza, please?
Excuse me, Commissioner's Court.
Good morning, sir.
I'm sort of a retired
Morning.
fireman for over 30, 40 years, and you all know me.
Yes.
And like I mentioned a few minutes ago, 80 or 90% of the people around here are over 60 years of age. They can't hear it, I can't hear it, so that's why I asked you, and I didn't want it to be impolite to each and every one of you.
Yes.
To get close to the microphone so we can be able to hear you,
Yes.
okay?
Okay.
One of the issues that I came to ask you is, that how come you all, referring to each and every one of you, raise the taxes so high? I have a house, which I bought 30 years ago. I haven't done any improvements to it in those 30, 40 years, except for the shingles, that you put a roof on it every time you have bad weather, okay? And here I have a house that I bought for $60,000 30 years ago, and now it's worth $120,000. Give me a break, I haven't done any improvements to it. How come you're all raising the taxes so high? See, that would be one of my first questions, and I would like whoever was in charge to answer that question to me.
Well, Mr. Garza, the process is, there's an appraisal district that it represents all the taxing entities within the county. They set the appraisals on each property in the county. The tax rate is set by the Commissioner's Court. Now, the tax rate has not changed for the last 10, 12 years. Appraisals have gone up, and so you would consider that a tax increase. It has been very difficult for the county to consider lowering tax rates because at some values within the community have been going up, but overall, the majority of the values that we depend on, which was the oil and gas, have plummeted over that same time. So, the county needs a certain amount of revenues to operate, and so it's been a very difficult process for everyone. Property rates, property tax values have gone up during this time, including this year. And we're cognizant of that, we're aware of that, and the tax rate has not changed, but overall, you may have seen an increase in your tax debt, which is understandable. But the reason is, everything else that the county would depend on has dropped considerably over that same period, which is mainly the oil and gas mineral values. So that is the primary reason.
Primary reason,
Yeah.
okay. My other question would be, a lot of people around here in this small community are asking themselves, who gave you all the right to raise your own taxes such a high percentage. I'm not disagreeing with you all to have a raise, okay? What I'm disagreeing is the percentage that you all gave to yourselves, which is way too high. That's almost 25% of your regular salaries, which used to be, or according to you all, $40,000, and now it's 50. That's $10,000 more, which is just about 25% in increase. So that's too much money, especially in the times we are in situations as of right now. This county doesn't have any revenue coming in, and I'm not blaming each and every one of you that haven't been able to bring any industries to this community. I'm not blaming you, because things are hard all over. You have Jim Hawk, Webb County, Starr County, they also are in the same boat that we are. So basically, I'm not blaming you, I'm just wanting an answer to it. How come it's having, that you all gave yourselves such a high rate? And like I've heard before, and from quite a few people around here, that you were one of the ones that voted against it.
Yes.
And there are people kind of blaming you because you're the county judge, right? So that's, I'm wrong on their behalf. But could you answer me the question, what made you all approve such a high percentage of raise?
Well, as for me, I mean, I know it was, requested, and,
I know,
for all elected officials, and like I said, we're returning it, well, I'm speaking for myself, I'm returning it, and I'm sorry it didn't happen, so what made us think that we deserved it, or why such a high percentage?
But why do y'all have such a high opinion of yourselves when y'all don't have any money coming in? I mean, don't you have common sense? We're all in the same boat. Who is the one, I mean, Judge, I'm sorry about this, and I do respect your opinion. You all that go in and are bottom feeders, how can you all expect to get an increase in salary when you haven't provided shit? I mean, no, this is true, and this is what people need to start telling you all. No, this is what people need to
It's
start
okay,
telling
he's
you
gonna
all.
torture, officers, it's all right.
Come on,
Deputies don't, no.
This is orderly.
This is orderly, that's fine. Just tone it down the rhetoric, please.
But it's true. I
Okay.
mean, and you all need to listen to the truth. I mean, you have not provided nothing to increase or provide Zapata with a good environment. Since 1995, I've seen less services and more increase on your all's. Who voted for this ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Really. I mean, you do not have a little bit of decency for hardworking people. You don't speak out for them. You don't help them. You're talking about, oh, we'll fix your house. But it's a loan. Why
It's
do
not a
I
loan,
want
it's
to
a
go
grant.
into debt
It's a
and pay
grant.
somebody?
It's a grant,
the same thing. Use common sense, please.
Again, based on what you're saying, and I don't want to say exactly the words she mentioned, but what I'm trying is to say, we don't have a hospital right now. I wanted to each and every one of you tell me or give me some information in who have you all contacted to see if you can have a doctor like we used to have before to work that 24-hour clinic, you know, because we have to run, they're using the ambulance service here in Zapata as a taxi. And I wasn't, like I said, I worked 30, 40 years in the county, with Mercy 13 years, with Starr County Hospital another 9 years. So all my life I've worked in emergencies. And the thing is that we don't have any, a lot of retired folks like we used to call 20 or 30 years ago snowbirds, they're not here anymore. Why? Because of the service that we don't have for them. They just mentioned a few minutes ago about the golf course. Well, sure, there's nobody playing golf anymore. There's no retired people anymore here. The ones that are, like myself, we just stick to our own home and do our home chores. But those people, their life depends on those times that they go and play golf to relax themselves. But we don't have anything for them anymore. The lake is empty. We don't have no more tourists. The motels that we have, that we built 10, 15, 20 years ago, they're empty also. So you see, there's no revenue coming into this community. And that hurts me to say that this small community is gonna end up like Bruni, Oyston, Mirando, Hebronville, and even San Diego, all those towns in the early 20s or 30s, they were booming with oils, los caballitos que le llamamos. And there was a lot of money coming in. But if they didn't invest it the way they should, and I think that that's what's happening to us right now. So we're not investing or having in something productive. The windmills that just went by, I don't know who or what happened, that the community is not making money out of it. We have the solar panels also. We used to have here in Zapata what we call Texas Highway Department, and we had about 8 or 10 employees from Zapata working for the Texas Department of Public Transportation. They opened a brand new office in Ensenada, aquí en Salineño, okay? And we closed ours. What's happening?
It's not closed, but they're combining their operations in Salineño. But the yard is still open, Mr. Garza.
Okay.
And as far as the wind farms, it has been a really good benefit to our county. In fact, the only increase in revenue, and it was substantial in this year's budget, and that what allowed myself to propose a budget to have some type of compensation increase to our employees, was because of the increase in revenue from those wind farms. Between both wind farms, even with the abatements, and people talk about abatements, why did the county issue abatements or not? An abatement comes out to give them a tax credit. Every county around us has given those abatements. I think our county, we did well with the abatements. It comes out to 70%, 30% abatement. So we gave up 70% of the total tax revenues, but with that 30%, that alone will brought in more than $1 million to our county's fund balance, our general fund. And it also will include direct payments to our organizations that directly benefit our kids. Our Boys and Girls Club will be a direct beneficiary for 10 years from these wind farms. They have a scholarship fund. We've established a scholarship fund for our graduating seniors of $50,000 a year for 10 years. Our county fair kids with their projects, they will be earning an extra $50,000 to be distributed around those that show those projects. And then of course we're helping to promote our community. The Chamber of Commerce will be receiving $25,000 for the promotion of tournaments, fish bass tournaments, to bring in more visitors for our hotels to visit. And our museum also will be receiving some funds to promote the history of our community. And last but not least is the food pantry. Our needs, as you mentioned, have increased substantially over the years. So our food pantry will be able to access an additional $50,000 for 10 years to help the most needy in our community. So the wind farms have been a direct blessing to our community, and that has been the only source of increased revenue for our county because of the wind farm. So whatever you hear in the street is I'm telling you, different, and this is the reality of what those wind farms have brought to our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, another issue is, you just mentioned a few minutes ago about the golf course, that you all bought it or something?
We're in the process of acquiring it, Mr. Garza. We applied for funding with Texas Parks and Wildlife to help us, if they would consider helping us with the purchase of acquiring that. The grant went through, and so more than half the purchase price will be through the funding of Texas Parks and Wildlife. So yes, I think, and I think Ms. Currington voiced it very well, that our kids will allow our kids to also enjoy that activity. I can tell you, I think without hesitation, that the golf course has produced more scholarship for our kids than any other sport, and so to further their education in our community. So the golf program in our community, in our high school, is excellent. If the golf course is not there, I think it would go away. It would be very difficult for us to support that program in our community. So the school district is behind this purchase. I think it'll enable our youth to continue to further their education through sports and with playing golf. So yes, And it enhances the standard of living here, I believe, in our community, so, quality of life issue. So, yes, we are moving forward, with the acquisition of golf course. Even during this difficult times, I think it's worth investing in our community in that respect because of the help we're getting from the state.
I wanna ask you something else. Have you heard anything about the American Legion being sold? Did you all find out anything?
I know we're going way beyond what's on the agenda, but no, sir.
I seek to find out if y'all can invest the money for our benefits.
Yes.
See, that building out there, even it's land, it's right in commercial property, right on the highway. You know, it could be of some use to the county. Well, anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all for your time, okay? Look at this. Not yet, President Commissioner's Court. Is it legal for me to wear my hat?
I love your hat, Mr. Rosa.
Or not?
That's fine, you may.
Okay, thank you.
Judge, just for the record, just for the record, I just don't want people to get discouraged about this USDA grant. It is a loan, it's not a loan, it's a grant. If you qualify, it's $10,000 of free money that you don't have to pay back. It's not a loan, it's a grant. So I'm just saying that I don't want people to get discouraged. You know, if you qualify under the income guidelines, it's $10,000 that you get for home repairs and it's free. You can actually apply for a loan if you want to, also, but it's free money.
Mr. Michael Finger.
What they said. I am pleased that y'all saw the benefit to reject loan, the raising itself. But if the money had been there, you would have gotten it. I don't know of any company that pays their employees 20% at a time. If the money had been there, you would have gotten it. And you raise the taxes as high as you can without a vote of the people. You arrange for the appraisal to increase. Something went wrong with the appraisal increase, and the money wasn't there. But it had been, you would have gotten it. We need to hold you guys more accountable for your actions. What can you point to besides a wind farm that you have brought into this county in the last 10 years? Comments? That's it. And the wind farm was federal money. What is your future gonna be? By the county, what's your future? Our older people are dying off. You have no jobs or industry here for the young people to come back and stay. Look at the cemetery. What is your tax base gonna be in 5 to 10 years from now? You think you're broke now? Well, we gonna, I don't know, I just don't understand that. You don't reach out to industry to come in here. You don't have an industrial park available for industry. When companies do wanna come in here, you say, hey, look, you're gonna hurt the little people that's already got businesses here. Oh, they make it your family. I don't know. I mean, HEB wanted to come in here. Oh, no, they didn't do that. Walmart wanted to come in here. I believe somebody asked them for $100,000, let them come in.
I think those are,
You think
Finger,
that's
you're entitled to
exactly-
your opinion, but those
Yeah.
are not factual.
That's not factual?
No.
Well, why didn't they come in if they wanted to?
We've tried, we've
You
made outreach.
actually went to them and said, hey, bring your store here.
We would love, yes, we have made outreach.
And they
to
said
them.
no? I thought they said yeah.
They don't tell you flat out no, but they are considering it. But they're not here
Just to speak to
yet.
that, Judge, if Your Honor remembers, over, actually, pretty much around the time that I took office, about 16 years ago, it was, and Your Honor was a commissioner at the time, we were in discussions about trying to implement the tax abatement. Now, it's kind of a chicken or egg type of thing. How do you get new development within the community? Well, most of these industries require you to dangle a carrot in front of them, okay? And what's that carrot usually? It's a tax abatement. So the problem with the tax abatement is that the first thing that people hear is like, oh, well, you're giving them a break, somebody's getting a payoff or so, whatever the case may be, but that's not the case. That's how you get people, induce people to come and invest in the community. Now, specific to, yeah, it's an incentive, it's without a doubt, one of probably the largest incentives that a local community can offer a corporation. Now, in reference to HEB, I can't speak for Walmart, but I can speak for HEB because I was involved in that. We made several overtures with them, and you know, we offered them a very hefty tax abatement incentive because we know that if HEB comes here, they're not going to be here for the 5-year or 10-year span of that tax abatement. They're here, they're going to be here for the next 50 to 100 years or however long they're a viable entity. So we attempted to do that, but at the time they thought it wasn't cost effective for them to come to Zapata. And at that time, Zapata County was doing fairly well with revenues, as far as oil and gas revenues and things like that. So we tried, sir. But the problem is that, one, the HEB, specifically around border towns, want to take advantage of locations that have access to Mexico. We do not have that as of now. We do not have a border crossing directly with Mexico. So that's one of the issues, but having said that, the court has attempted it, and I wanted to speak that because I know I was personally involved in that. But having said that, Walmart, I've never heard that they had ever wanted to come, but whenever there's an entity, an organization that's interested in coming to Zapata, I know we've had several Dollar Generals and Family Dollars open up in Zapata, which may not be what you want or expect, or in the CVS, but we do have a few national chains that are coming in to Zapata and making investment. I mean, just 15 years ago, can any of us imagine that we would have had a CVS on Highway 83? Probably not. At least I wouldn't have. You know, so the fact that we have it, the county is taking steps to accomplish this, and obviously I can't speak for them. They're the ones that make decisions and make the votes on it, but I know I was involved in that, and they are incentivizing commerce to come into Zapata. We just need more of it to come.
But we don't have an industrial park for the industries at all.
And I can address that too, sir. The problem with creating an industrial park, that is something else that the commissioners have looked into doing, creating a zoning ordinance within Zapata County. The problem with that has plagued the commissioners and the judge in making the decision to create these zoning enterprises is that Zapata County is essentially a hodgepodge of entities that landed all in one spot, okay? So we have individuals that have their house in one location and have stables in the backyard, okay? And that is considered a residential area, but they have stables in the back. Now, in most incorporated municipalities, things like that are not allowed, okay? But here, because we have that, so because we have a combination of both agricultural, rural, and residential areas all kind of mixed in, it's hard for us to create the lines to then subsequently create the regions for a potential industrial park. Now, one thing with the industrial park is that the primary areas for us to be able to conceivably do it would be in the Highway 16 region, okay? The problem with Highway 16 is that it's not considered a major artery, okay? Because that's where we would have access to the most type of land. So that may not be as enticing to some of these corporations. I'm sorry, I get to speak and I never shut up. So but that's basically one of the hurdles that we're having, sir, with an industrial park. But it has been considered. I can attest to that it has.
Well, Judge, and just to add to that, also, a lot of these industries, when they look at coming into Zapata, they do look, I'm sorry, my microphone isn't working. A lot of these industries, when they're looking at coming into Zapata County, they do look at census numbers.
Yeah.
Because they focus on population, whether there's enough population there to sustain the business or not. They look at the traffic that runs through the town, if there'll be enough traffic to sustain the business. Unfortunately, our census numbers did not come out very good for us this cycle, Judge, as you mentioned at the last meeting. They actually decreased, and we're having to look at rezoning our precincts because of that decrease in census. So these are reasons why it's very important for people to get involved with the census. We try to push it, we try to get people to get involved, because these larger corporations, they do look at those numbers.
And we need a bridge back across into Mexico. They're building another one in Laredo. They're gonna build a bridge. Why haven't y'all moved to have that done?
That process has started. We've actually looked into that.
10, 15 years ago. We, the people, need to know what your view of the future of Zapata is. The older people are dying off. And there's no incentive for the young people to stay here. They need jobs.
Right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Your view of the future has to pertain to the job opportunities of the people.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I thank you for your time.
Yes.
Y'all have a good day.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Ms. Jennifer Thatcher, I think, but with this, yes.
I think I'm on the agenda, but I don't know.
Okay, well, we can move on to that while we're on it. We'll move on to reports and presentations. Item number 10 is a submission of petition by eligible Zapata County voters against the Zapata County Commissioners' 20% pay increase. Ms. Jenny Thatcher.
Jen, Ms. Thatcher.
Okay, good morning.
I know. Wow, you guys made my job easy. And, first of all, I want to present everybody, we were able to raise $430 for our local food pantry.
Very well.
On our online petition. And
Thank you. Mr. Salinas is the treasurer.
Okay, I'll hand that over to you in a few minutes, Mr. Salinas. I know that you guys already voiced that you're going to sign the affidavit. You deserve the raise, what you do. Any law enforcement and EMS, you got our support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Thatcher. So that's for the record, 400 and you said?
Yeah, $430.
Very well, thank you.
And they're still signing the online petition, so if any more money comes in, of course, we'll let you know.
Thank you so much, and I'd like to publicly thank you, your family, because on behalf of your grandmother, I believe, your aunt, she sent me $1,000, not too long ago. So thank you on behalf of the pantry.
You're welcome. We love our community. I know that, well, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Thatcher. I'm just here as an eligible voter. I really would like to address all of you. When the petition was done, it was a nonpartisan issue, and the people who started calling me were concerned voters. So I know what party I represent, but I did it nonpartisan because they felt that they needed a voice. And I said, I'll stand up. I'll do it. And I know I worded the petition a certain way, and it hurt feelings, and we did means, but that's how you incite, you get people to stand up and, voice themselves. I know that there is jokes made. I know that we were criticized for voicing our concern. That's one thing that I want to address with you. Several people who received the text. As a voter, I have the right to check you. I do. I pay taxes. I vote. We vote you in. We voted people in for years. And I don't know if you guys noticed, when you get a group of people that are like-minded, they can make a wave. We did in 2020. We flipped our county. A lot of people are happy with it. But that's the party I support. But I'm not here to talk about my party. I'm here to talk about the people of Zapata who still have answers. I know that everybody declined. I know you gave a reason. And I applaud you for that. But nobody has justified the salary increase. And I would like to hear it from everybody. Every commissioner. I want everybody to answer. Give me a concrete reason why you were, or any other elected official. Ms. Martinez, I'm sorry. I knew you were gonna do the right thing. I applaud you for doing that. I just want a justification. Like why, I mean, I don't see a commissioner running into a fire. I don't see a commissioner stopping a crime. Why would 50,000 in a community in 2019 where the census said the median income was 33,000, and you guys were making above that income, 42, which is a lot. It's comfortable living in that county, especially if you own your home. So I'm open to answers right now because I have several questions, and I would love to hear what everybody has to say.
If I may, I'd like to start when.
Ms. Thatcher, sorry.
Ms. Thatcher, yes.
Yeah, because I'll address you as Commissioner Mendoza, you address me as Ms. Thatcher.
Ms. Thatcher. So, when we had this conversation here in Commissioner's Court, my reasoning behind it was I felt that there needed to be more involvement in county government, and I felt that a salary increase to the positions would entice more involvement of people, qualified individuals, to want to seek to run for these positions. So that is how I was looking at it. I know that when you look at people that have experience or degrees, they look at, of course, that they have a family to support, so they have to look at the salary. Is it a livable wage?
Yeah, I'm gonna take that from you right there. Because when you run for public office, because I'm an elected official, I'm a volunteer, I don't get paid to do what I do.
Right.
I just like to do what I do.
Right.
When you run for public office, you know the salary when you start running.
Yes, we do.
And you serve the people of the community regardless of what the salary is, because your intention is to work for the people of the community.
Right.
And you guys are the governing body for our community. So, that's still not an answer. Enticing people for, that's not gonna entice a person to run. It's not. The salary doesn't have to do anything. Some people do it for personal interest. Some people do it because they wanna serve the community. I wanna know from you guys, 50K, why?
Why 50,000?
Why 50,000?
Well, I know Commissioner Solis proposed a raise to the court at the budget hearing. It was based on, if I'm not mistaken, Commissioner, of the salary, survey provided by TAC, Texas Association of Counties, I'm sorry, that includes all 254 counties. And from there, it was basically an average of what a county our size, our budget size, would pay a county commissioner.
Sorry, I know I'm not speaking, but I do want to say that survey, there's a survey here, this is from the Texas Association of Counties from 2018. And they do divide it by population. And so this county is from 10 to 25,000. And the average for 10 to 25,000 is 46,000. However, that includes 5 outlying counties that have higher salaries, are outliers. And the reason being they have very strong financial condition, very high reserves, and 0 debt. If you take those 5 counties out, the average was 40,000.
So you still were being paid above, right? Census doesn't ask people if they're US citizens, you're just counting people. So if we're realistic, in our county, we have 14,000? Let's say half are not legal, we're a border town. How many legal registered voters do we have, Kinsley? Off the top of my head, I didn't tell
A
you.
little over 7, Ms. Thatcher.
A little over 7,000?
Yes.
Okay, well, we have over almost 1,000 signatures here. So, percentage-wise, the pushback is there. So if there's 7,000 voters.
Well, sorry to interrupt. On any normal primary election, and if it's really contested, you might get a little over 4,000. So you have 4,000 active voters. So yes, 1,200 is a
It's just the
very big
population
percentage.
in.
Yes.
Yeah, the last election was 5,000.
Okay, so, still, no, like, that's all we want, an answer from each one of you guys as to why 50K. I know you've been here the longest, I would like to have your opinion, why 50K?
Well, I think that, that we deserve it, and, we're 24/7, but like y'all saying, I made a mistake, and
Okay, Mr. Hassel, well, there's a lot of complaints from your precinct.
I know.
I know, yeah, correct, you're up there, 92%. And the complaints.
And I'll be-
And I've always said it, when you spoke to me, and I told you, you would never keep the people happy,
Yeah.
but that was a slap in the face.
And every day, we're working at Precinct 4, every single day. But, what can I say?
Yeah, I understand, and like, we hear it every time that there's no money in the budget, and the deficit is there, we were gonna add to it, like, I looked at it as that you guys were like, oh, we're in the red anyway, the livelihood of the community, we got over that first. There's just, add more to it, it's like digging a hole, covering it with dirt, digging another hole and covering it with the dirt.
I can come back and say, on my budget, I never go on the rate, never. And you can ask the county treasurer or Mr. Gonzalez, I never go on the rate, never.
When it came to the petition, I was open to questions, and you never reached out to me. Like, I would have loved to have you reached out to me, but your constituents did.
I don't have
I would have
Facebook.
loved to have, you don't have anything to give me so that I can give the people, Mr. Commissioner, looking at. How about you, Joey?
What
Why do
about-
you justify the 50K?
Well, I know it had been, so I just came in, right, but it had been since 2007, I believe, that the commissioners last got a raise. And we looked at that, from TAC, we did look at that, at the average, we did come up with that, it was 49 and change, close to 50,000. So that's what we came up with. So that was a 20% increase. I know we also gave a 28% increase to the JPs as well, that was 28%. So is that concerning as well?
Yes, it is.
It's 28%.
Elected officials right here.
Well, it's because in the agenda.
Of course, in the petition, I put the commissioners, because at the time that I was being
Correct.
contacted, it was commissioners, so I just started the
And the
petition so
agenda,
that people.
and the
have
agenda
voice.
also says
Yeah.
just commissioners,
Yeah.
And like I said, we heard you guys, we heard you guys very loud and clear, and we acted on it, that's what it is. If we would've gone back, I think, Mr. Mendoza, somebody mentioned it earlier, if we would've done this budget hearing number 1, probably would've never happened. But you know what, the positive side about this is that, everybody came together, and we're working together to do it, and we are here for you guys, and we heard you loud and clear. And you
Okay,
know
well,
what?
Mr. Finger, who had the opportunity to be here the very first time.
Right, he was here, and I
Was
applaud
more
him.
than enough, I mean, he was making you guys aware, but then on, the 27th, from what I saw in the video, you were being told there was no money,
Right.
and nobody looked up and there was like, yeah, we'll go.
Well, I mean, and there is no money, we've been in the red several years, well, from what I'm learning, right, as I'm coming in, we've been in the red a couple of years ago, I guess since 2011 or something like that, and little raises have been there, raises have always been there, I know we've had other deficits, but like I said, you guys spoke and we heard you, loud and clear.
But still, why 50K? I mean, he told me he just didn't have justification. I want your justification.
I just explained to you that
Yeah.
we did that, by TAC. I went through the TAC and we had 19 counties that we had 19 counties that I actually, did the math and that's what I came up with. It was 49,000 and some change, and that's what I came up with. But the people did not agree with it, and here we are.
Okay, and as she said, you compared us to communities that have bigger revenue than us.
Could've.
I mean, that would be like, if you know that they have more money, why would you compare a salary to a place that has money and wanna raise your salary to the place where you don't have money?
Well, I believe I gave you the answer
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
I gave
yeah.
you my answer.
And
we're
you
not
also
gonna go
said
back
that
and
you were
forth.
new to it. You also
Right.
said that you were
Right.
new to it.
But it's for the position, it's not for me, it's for the position. And see, guys, we gotta understand, this is for the position, it is not for me. I may not be here in 4 years, my.
May I?
Hold on, one at a time, please. yeah.
Okay, you know, you said it's for the position, which is the reason that you gave it to it, you know, the position to attract people to be here, you know. But when you were running, you said you would do it for free if the county didn't have money.
Okay.
So are you going to back on your word? Accountability. I'll own up to my mean that hurt anybody's feelings.
Right, no,
I
no,
apologize.
no feelings have been hurt,
But,
you know.
but,
You know,
well,
and
the
you,
authority they have,
you know, and you
the
go-
petition was a joke.
Isn't there a limit to how long people should be speaking up there?
Yes, but I decide the limit now.
You decide the limit?
Yes, I decide the limit.
Okay.
Okay, so, I heard Paco, I heard Garza, I heard Elizondo, I mean, Solis, Elizondo, your reason.
Just that when I actually, ran my first election, that I decided to run, I had spoken to Commissioner Angel Garza. I actually didn't even know that commissioners got paid. After a few weeks that we started talking about, we wanted to run, that's when I actually knew we would get paid. So, but I'm doing it because this is what I love to do. What was I thinking when I know that the judge was very strongly saying that there was no money, and I apologize, Judge, for not listening to you. But, I am giving my money back, I have no justification, the only justification is that I did not listen to the judge, that's all I can say. But, do I deserve it? Not
And when I
deserve it?
spoke to you, the only complaint, and I spoke to your constituent, and I let you know, there was only one complaint for your precinct. Because unlike in your precinct, that was only one complaint, guys, for hers, and it was animal control, and it was something that's beyond your control, because people need to own up and take care of their pets. That's the only complaint from said precinct 2. But you justified it to me a different way. Now, we're all familiar with the forum, right?
Yes.
What happens, you meet, to discuss certain things behind, that are not supposed to be discussed somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay. So, I was honest with you, you were honest with me.
Yes.
Very transparent, and I said, whatever I gotta say, I'm gonna say it on the 8th. So I'm here to say that. You said you were against the budget.
Yes.
But then you were approached to push for the budget, for the pay raise. Now, we were both on speakerphone, because your excuse you gave me that you have a cricket phone that's broken, you put me on speaker, and I was at the hospital.
And it is broken, it's right here, it's broken.
Yeah, mine's too.
Yes.
Yeah, but we were very open
Yes.
with each other.
And I know that my commissioners are here, and they know that I've always said that, I really wasn't for the race, I wasn't. But when it came the time to vote, I just figured if they were gonna go down, I was gonna go down with them. And I did not listen to the judge, like I just said. So.
But you said you were approached.
I'm sorry. Okay, is that?
I gotta make a call, because, this contributes to what I gotta do.
We do have, Ms. Thatcher, we do have some time.
I know, I understand.
Thatcher, we cannot.
Oh, we can, okay, all right.
Yeah.
When you told me that you were approached by other individuals, I had you on speaker 2. So, according to.
I'm not saying you're lying, I just don't remember, I was approached by who?
I think we can move, that maybe a separate forum for that,
Okay.
Ms. Thatcher, but.
Okay. All right.
Like I say, I'm not saying you're lying, maybe I did say, but,
Okay, so we're,
like I said, sorry.
we're all agreeing to sign the affidavit?
Yes, we are.
Okay, how about the other elected officials?
It will, like we mentioned, and the
Are they
attorney
gonna do it
mentioned.
publicly so we know that it's not done behind closed doors?
Yes, I have an item, where I specifically, I want my affidavit to be part of the record. So I think, we can certainly prepare the affidavits of those individuals, commissioners that are here today, and have them ready, when we get to that, and all of us sign, and be part of the minutes of those elected officials that, want to be on the record, actually signing, the affidavit. I wanted to make sure I was part of the record. I know initially, I said I was not gonna accept it. Unfortunately, the budget was filed prematurely. I had a medical trip that I had to take my wife to, and in the interim, the auditor's office filed the budget, without my affidavit and without my signature, which upset me considerably. And we've had those discussions with the auditor of it not happening again. But I included an item to make sure that the public knows that for the record, my affidavit will be in the minutes because it's not included in the budget, which is not, correct.
Well, I hope this is a humbling experience to the commissioners. Because, you know, we have several positions that are coming up for reelection, so are the justice of the peace positions that are coming up. And people are frustrated, you guys hold a sleeping giant in our community. And the people now know that they have a voice and they're gonna go against you every chance that they get. Whether it be with me pushing them or somebody else pushing them, you know, but make sure you give straight answers, concrete answers, not just excuses.
Ms. Monica, can you have Roxy prepare the
I have
affidavit?
them, Judge.
Oh, you have them?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
You sign them right now? Yeah, let's go ahead and sign them right now then.
This is, Chief, sorry, Sheriff, this is for you.
And then you have to notarize them, is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Monica is a notary, so she will be validating the signature.
This is Joe's. This is Mr. Just the signature.
Signature. Yeah, your name.
Oh, just in print or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jen, I just want to, make it known to the
Yes,
public.
Ms., you may approach, Ms. Mendoza, our tax collector, yes.
Okay, I do wanna make it known, good morning to everybody, and it's been a long morning. But I do wanna let it be known that it was I that declined my increase in my salary. But I wanted it to be the same as everybody else in the county, all the county employees. And when I did sign it, they told me that I couldn't, that it had to be all or part of it. So I did not sign it, but I will
Well, I mean,
sign another form again.
Ms. Mendoza, it doesn't have to be all required, you just can't assign whatever you want to.
Well-
But, so that's how, the budgets are already been, approved.
Okay.
Your affidavit, if you say you don't want it all, well, then you can say half of it, but you can't assign the rest to another, your employee's
To my
salary.
employees,
You can't do
The
that.
affidavit just has you forego whatever it is you're seeking to forego. So that's the purpose of the affidavit.
Okay.
So.
All right, then I will not, I will go ahead and sign the affidavit.
All right.
I'll give you the rest of the
Okay.
petition, right?
Thank you, Ms.
Sada, Ms. Rathwell, did you have something to address? I know you raised your hand several times and.
Yes, I didn't intend to speak this morning. I have such laryngitis. But it's just so frustrating to sit there and to listen to Commissioner Elizondo say, I don't have a justification, I didn't listen. Commissioner Mendoza say, if only I had known that a 20% pay increase was wrong. Commissioner Solis say, well, other people get more and we haven't had a pay raise in 15 years. So if the average pay raise for a county of our size is $42,000 and you are at $42,000 for 15 years, that means that 15 years ago, you were vastly overpaid. The position was vastly overpaid. There is no justification for having a 20% salary, 20% for anyone. That doesn't happen in the private sector. What happened in this court on that Monday was that you all showed your contempt for every voter in this county. You thought we weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
And every other time that you had unjustly, irresponsibly raised salaries 20% at one time, you have gotten away with it. But I hope that you understand that that no longer will be the case. We have a committed citizens that will take our county back from these corrupt clowns that sit on the commissioner's board.
Judge, I did sign the affidavit, but I do wanna address the court and, The situation is from a dispatcher to my jailer to my medical assistant, they're all first responders. I just wanna add that. And I think if the fire department is receiving, I think all of us should be getting the same. You don't have to give it to me, but give it to my guys. 'Cause I'm with them on the front lines, and we're the only law enforcement entity in Zapata taking care of all these citizens.
All right, so we've got, the petition that has been submitted for the record to the county clerk.
Yeah, let me get that for you. There's still some more coming in.
Okay, and you may, continue to, let the county clerk, have them as they come in.
Okay.
But for the record, she will have that petition in the file. And certainly she can make copies of the statute and provide some copies to you for your record.
We started at 690, we're at 696 on the online, so maybe we'll collect some more.
Okay. And I think in total you said you were at 1,200?
Yeah, almost.
So, yeah, that's about 25% of the folks that vote on a regular basis, so it's loud and clear, there's no doubt.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 11 is a report on affidavit of myself pursuant to local government code 152.052 on electing not to receive a raise on salary as county judge. As I mentioned a little while ago, I just wanted to be part of the record that I was not in favor of this salary increase. I voiced my concern and against it. And I just, since it was not included in the final budget, I wanted the public to make sure there was a record that I did not, and so it's just a report item. I just wanted to make sure that the public knew. We'll move on to item number 6, is approval of invoices, and in our packets. And I want to thank all of you. I know you all might be busy. We're going to get back to our regular business, but y'all are welcome to stay. Those of you who wish to stay, we will move to approval of invoices. I don't have any today. We have invoices from September 24, 2021 through October 7, 2021, for a total of $783,126.58.
Motion moved.
Motion to approve, by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Elizondo. All those in favor say aye. Motion carried. Mr. Finger, public is already, next time. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Item number 7 is approval of treasury report. Mr. Salinas, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge. I went ahead and handed out the treasurer's report, should be in front of you. On the first page, I've got the investments that I have deposited at Zapata National Bank, which is our depository. And those investments total $8,884,608.79. And the interest earned for the month was $2,601.67. Year to date, we've earned $45,885.87. We did slightly better than we had projected. I believe we had budgeted.
I think it was more than $32,000.
Something like that. So, considering the market that we're in, we're still being paid 35 basis, and the norm is, due to our contract, is way less than 0.5%. So, we're doing very well there in our investments. Page number 5, the following pages that I'm skipping is just showing you the maturity. I usually keep the investments for 90 days unless we need the funds to cover our checking account every Thursday. Our overdraft, I can go the checking accounts, I will not go over all of them, just the ones that I'm required by law to point out to the court. But all of those accounts total $4,627,322.53. We ran deposits to all those different accounts in the amount of $3,061,792.23. And we expensed out of those checking accounts $3,730,46.68. And they could have been transfers to other accounts, not actually just spending the $3 million altogether. And the ending balance of all those checking accounts at the end of the month, after we did the reconcilements for the month of September, totaled $3,959,068.08. And now our operating account had a ending balance of $1,913,540.66. Deposits that we ran into the operating account totaled $1,598,002.39. And then we expensed out of there $1,845,649.11, leaving an ending balance of $1,665,893.84 at the end of September. As you can see highlighted, I have the general fund, which is we're in the process of closing all these accounts and running everything out of the operating account. But we still have the general fund account open because we have direct deposits coming in here. But we have a beginning balance of $339,031.89, and we had a deposit of $256,943.96, and we expensed out of that account $550,000, and we left an ending balance of $45,975.85. The other one down with, if you scroll down, I can point out the waterworks. We had a beginning balance of $108,081.72. We had not done all the transfer outs before the beginning of September, but they ran deposits of $152,818.12 for the month of September, and we expensed out of there $223,070.07 for the month of September, and we left in a balance of $38,549.77 because we transferred money out and deposited to the operating account because the operating account handles all their expenditures and payroll. If you go to page number 6, that other page shows all the other checking accounts that are held by their elected officials and offices, and they total $1,388,850. We ran deposits of $478,799, and expenses out of all those checking accounts that you can see there on that column was $500,963.57. The ending balance after reconciling all these checking accounts, we have an ending balance of $1,366,686.57. This is a very lengthy report, so I'm trying to speed it up a little bit. If you have any questions, please go ahead and stop. Page number 7 shows all the checks that were issued from the different operating accounts, and those totaled $1,508,697.95. Year to date at the very bottom, starting the fiscal year in October 1 through September 30th, we've issued checks out of the Treasurer's Office in the amount of $12,935,705.37, and we're still waiting for those invoices that were expensed before the end of the fiscal year, so those will be paid out of the prior year. So that number may change slightly. So page number 8 shows the different amounts of checks coming out of different funds, and those total $1,933,056.98 for the month of September. Page number 9 shows the electricity bill for the month of September, and those are very small amounts, so I believe that they have not been processed yet by the audit office, because they usually get the bill, review it, and they send it to my office for payment. So that's a very small amount, so we usually spend in electricity a little bit over $50,000, so that's a very small amount because we probably pay just a couple of invoices. The amount was $879.43, but we'll reflect that in the next report. And the water bill was $9,943.85 for the month of September. Year to date in electricity, we paid an amount of $575,152.73. And the water bill for the fiscal year starting October to September totaled $142,606.94. That's a 10 shows the, check, the direct deposit that I get from Gilcorp for the couple of, gas wells that we have in the county. And that direct deposit came in at $7,386.60. And we had budgeted, Judge, 49,000 for, this year. And we received 82,184.47. So at the very bottom, I usually, this, report, I have a year-to-date percentage collected. So we collected 167,072 for the court's, information. Page number 11 is the rental income. As, you can see, we have been closed, most of the year in our buildings that we usually lease out or collect rent from. So in September, we only collected 350, and that was rental income from the pavilion. And if you go down the matrix for all the buildings, Zapata Community Center, they collected $900. So, year to date, I'd like to report that the San Ignacio Civic Center collected $500 for the whole fiscal year. You go to the pavilion, we collected out of rental income $1,700, and the Zapata Community Center $3,600. All the other Pacon, Santa, Little Peña had zero. The Osvaldo Juanita Ramirez didn't collect anything, and the swimming pools and the San Ignacio swimming pool didn't show any revenues because our swimming pools are closed, and I believe that we opened those just during the summertime. Page number 12 shows the collections by our county clerk into Fund 10 for the month of September. They collected $5,950. Our county clerk into Fund 10 deposited $75. Our district clerk to Fund 10 collected $5,684.60. Our district clerk deposited into Fund 15 $1,170.25. And our armed ordinance, which is the redemption machines that we have throughout the county, we didn't have any income recorded for the month of September, but throughout the year, as they come in and they pay for those permits to be able to operate, we collected $1,380,000, and we have budgeted $800,000. What's concerning to me that in this annual, this new budget, we went ahead and budgeted like $1,100,000, and a lot of the establishments have been closed by law enforcement. So unfortunately for everybody that stayed, we may be not getting those revenues.
I think, as we move forward, yes, they've always been a very tenuous revenue source. It's been very difficult to depend on those revenues for us to operate our budgets. So I think, looking forward, I think if Zapata County becomes a very difficult place for those businesses to operate, I think in the long run, it's a good thing. So we will just have to wean ourselves from our dependence on those revenues. It may be difficult this initial year, but I commend the sheriff for there's been several, authorities that have raided, for lack of a better word, these establishments for possible wrongdoing. And so I think it's good that in the long run, if we don't have these establishments operating in our county, I think Zapata County will be a beneficial recipient of that. So, but this year, yes. This year, it looks very likely that we may increase our deficit by over $1 million, so yes. And that was some of my reasoning during the hearings, because this is a very tenuous, very volatile revenue source for the county.
And that's why, I'd like to point that for the audience to know that that's where the deficits come in. I mean, we budget hoping that we get that revenue for the fiscal year. As I stated, we budgeted $800,000 for this budget year, and we were lucky to collect $1,380,000, which helped take care of some of the deficit. But that's where the red numbers come in. Like, if we don't get that money collected, then that makes our numbers.
It's concerning to be dependent on those revenues.
Very much so. So that's why I like, for the audience to understand, what happens, when things, I think this past week, I heard that 3 establishments in Pacon were closed down. I don't know the reason or anything. We had 2 other ones, and they're the biggest ones. So we collected $1,000 with it.
Beyond our control, yeah.
It's beyond our control, but these, monies come in late in July. So if our budget is depending on that $1,100,000, and they're all closed down during the year, like they closed them down last weekend, well, July's gonna come around, and I'm gonna be receiving that $1,100,000.
Of course.
So then, that's where the county goes into a deficit. So, that's just one point I wanted to make. And that's when the judge, when he's presenting the budget, informs the court, and of course, the commissioners, court are the ones that decide to adopt the budget or not, or continue increasing it, making it bigger when we're in a deficit, by approving items, that are not included in the budget. But anyway, I'll move on. The sales tax in the last column, we budgeted $2 million for this fiscal year. So after posting what we received for September, we received $2,361,179.64, which again helps a little bit, because, we had budgeted, $2 million, so we went over $361,000 in the collections of the sales tax that comes into the county. And that total 118% collections for this fiscal year. Page number 13 shows the landfill monies that we collect that are paid to the county by RSL, who's our trash collector for the county. So for the month of September, they paid $23,550. Our jail revenues, and the sheriff passed out the report to the commissioner's report and myself. We had already gotten a figure from the sheriff's office, so we reported it here as $197,800.40 for the month of September. The jail revenues were $4,724.60. The jail bond fees $330. The jail office fees $2,420. And then our EMS department, which is our fire department, the ambulance runs that run up to Laredo, deposited $81,974.49. So the landfill, we had budgeted $238,500 for the year. They paid us $342,249. So their year-to-date percentage collected was 143%. The jail, we had budgeted $1,200,000 for the year, and the total collected by our sheriff's department is $1,279,023.54. So that was 106% collection. Our jail telephone came in at 81%. We had budgeted $46,005. But those revenues came in at $37,840. So we're short a little bit there. The jail bond fees, we don't know how much that is, so we don't budget them out. But there was $5,000, so I'm not giving you a percentage. The jail office fees collected were $6,705. We had budgeted $4,200, so that's 159%. There on the jail office fees collected. And our EMS, we had budgeted $700 for this fiscal year, and they only brought in $600, $629.59. And there, it was due to the pandemic. They couldn't, run to Laredo. There was no hospital available, so that hurt us this fiscal year. But then started picking up again because we were very concerned at the very beginning of the fiscal year. Because when I was doing the report, we had budgeted $700,000. I brought it to the commissioner's court attention that the monies were not coming in because the ambulance was not running Laredo. So the ambulance collects these monies from individuals when they take us to the hospital. They charge the insurance or Medicaid, Medicare, whoever, and those are the revenues that are brought in by our fire department. This money that we budget here, $700, is to cover the expenses of that department, some of them. So they came in at 85.8% for this fiscal year. So now I know that things with the pandemic, things got better, and then we went back to Laredo not having enough beds or being able to provide the care. So I don't know how it's affecting because I don't run the department, but the chief knows.
I think that it's increasing.
It's increasing, but that has a lot to do with it. I mean, we budget, but then things happen, and then the revenues don't come in, but that's beyond our control. The next page, number 14, is our JP collections for the month of September, JP number 1 collected $10,344. JP number 2 from San Ignacio, $14,072.78. JP number 3, $4,492.78. And JP precinct number 4 collected $2,901.90. The total amount collected by JP number 1 for this year was $277,403.92. JP number 2 from San Ignacio, $263,823.20. JP number 3 was $112,041.69. And JP number 4 was $113,175.59. A lot of these collection fees for the audience information are not new citations, new tickets. We got a new software for the JPs, and they're going back to the records. I got myself a citation from lawyer from 15 years back. So if I don't pay it, I'm gonna be arrested. So I don't even know what citation that was, but
Yeah, it's been a good.
and that's what's happening here. This new program sends out letters and they tell us, okay, if you don't pay the citation, we're gonna arrest you. Or you get stopped, you're gonna be arrested. So all of these monies are being collected from prior citations that have not been collected. So it's not like, we have our citizens in our community breaking the law. And we're
But I think we still have a pretty sizable pool that is still outstanding, so I think these type of collections should continue for this year.
Hopefully that it will be like this forever and ever, but one.
Well, our pool gets smaller every
It
year.
gets smaller and smaller, so it's gonna stop at one point, so. Following that is just a couple of pages, and that's the overtime report that I will not read out. That's for the commissioner's court information, that's the overtime that's paid by, some of our departments. So right there, the court has in front of them, I provided some payroll, an overtime report, so they'll know how we're spending that overtime, who's getting paid, those hours. But that's the end of my report. I know that I passed out the other attachment, because I didn't have time to attach this report. And these are the other balances of the, different checking accounts that we have been closing, but they're being consolidated into our, new, operating account. But if you're interested in those balances, they're the ones on the right-hand column of this balance.
Thank you.
So those are the balances for those checking accounts.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Garza to approve the treasurer's report as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 8 is approval of checks issued, and we have checks from 9/24/2021 through 10/7/2021, for a total of
783,126.58. Motion to approve is presented.
motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Solis. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item number 9 is tax assessor collectors departmental report. Ms. Mendoza, good morning.
Good morning. Okay, our end of the year report total, not necessarily the end of the year totals, but the monthly. Our total collection for the year 2020 was 90.58%. Last year's collection was 89.59, so we're 1% over what we collected last year. Okay, on our collections, M&O, we had a total of 64,628.96. Interest and sinking, we had 26,678.55. Farm to market, $3.93. Special road and bridge, 6,928.40. Total collection was 112,864. 112,864.42. Fees and other collections, tax certificates, $12. Hotel motel, 4,585.58. Interest earnings, 15.16, for a total net collections of 4,612.74. Check made out to the Zapata County Treasurer was 102,852.67. Delinquent attorneys, 14,624.49. Total disbursement was 117,477.16. On our hotel motel, end of the year, we had 105,307.26. And that's.
We'll move on to the action items, Commissioners. We will deliberate and consider action on item number 12, is to withhold all funding for nonprofits until budget and financials are submitted to the county.
Motion moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? Yes. You may approach and state your name for the record.
Hello, good morning. My name is Gabriela Guevara. I do have some questions concerning this. Primarily being the lack of transparency on these nonprofit organizations. It's very obvious that the county budgets a substantial amount to these nonprofit organizations such as the Chamber and, as you mentioned, the county fair. And I think it's important for people to see how this money
I think
is spent.
this, and I appreciate your comments, and certainly this will start the process of requiring, being a little bit more demanding of financials being submitted to the county. So I think we can move from there. Certainly, once these financials are provided to the county, they will be made to the public, open to the public for their review. So I appreciate your comments, but this is a step in the right direction. And
Unfortunately, it's been years that there has been a lack of
it's been
transparency.
a little bit slow in coming on all fronts, but we are gonna work at it.
I'm glad. Thank you.
Thank you. Got a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 13 is to address the inappropriate posting of political signs in Zapata County and to determine the imposition of fines and or consequences to those who fail to adhere to policies. Requested by Mr. Jorge Montes, Zapata County Democratic Party Chair. Mr. Montes, good morning.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioner. Good morning, Mr. Montes. Well, as it happens, the primary for 2022 is almost here. The initial sign up for that would be next month.
Can you help him, Sheriff? That's all right. Sheriff,
We're here.
all right. I'll hold it. Okay, thank you.
Will be next month, and of course, some of the candidates have already been posting signs. The approved, as far as I understand, when I took over 2 years ago, was a 90-10 policy.
Yes.
90 days before the election and 10 days after.
For
the signs
removal, yes.
needed to be removed.
Yeah.
And for some reason or other, a practice has started in our community where candidates will post their either full name or their name with the date, actually the year of the primary and the general election. And some of the signs have been up for about a year now. They're falling off their stakes. They're doubling over. A lot of them have overgrown grass covering the bottom part. Some of the candidates do go out and clean, or the residents of the areas where they're posted are cleaning, but it's not happening with everybody's sign. The only thing that could be posted on those type of signs, is, like I said, is the name and the year. Some of the signs that are out there now have the full announcement, which is not legal. People have been arrested because of that. There is an incumbent that is running for office. Her sign is legal because she is the incumbent. It can post the position that she has because that's what she has. The only thing that cannot be on that sign is re-elect, and she has had them covered. But again, some of those coverings have fallen off. Some of the signs, again, have folded over. Some of them have fallen. They've gone. Probably not picked up by the candidate, picked up by God knows who. They're not there anymore. You can see the stakes just standing there. So I would like to see some action on behalf of the court to,
Enforce
Mr.
enforce
the
Figueroa,
signs and control.
This is a commissioner's court order that, I'm assuming that the court approved, at some point.
Judge, I don't know if that's necessarily clear when, who, or where that specific rule came from, Judge. I don't know if it was adopted by the Commissioner's Court at some point in time.
I do not have a memory of it.
I don't either, Judge,
Yes.
so I don't know if it, as far as I can remember, since before, it was a rule that was, in place since then, Judge. Since before I took office, Judge. So I'm not certain what action was taken by the court, if and when it, even if it did. Maybe it was just an understanding by, previous Democratic chairs that they would say the 90-10 rule. So as far as I know, I've never seen any type of documentation that says it exists and that it's a formal order from the court. Now, I'm not certain if the Democratic Party or the Republican Party either have rules specific as to what it is they require of their candidates. I'm not certain if you do or don't, or are seeking to implement them. But I know we would be, I'd have to check on the legality of us being able to impose fines and consequences for certain types of violations, because now you're adding an element of, not necessarily criminality, but an element of violating certain rules and regulations, Judge, which we don't know if action was ever formally taken by the court, Judge. So I'd have to research the issue whether we can or cannot, Judge, on that.
Mr. Pettis, as far as the state Democratic Party?
I have
If
spoken
they're on
to,
private property, like, it's like the person's property, like, if the owner has them on their private property, wouldn't it be the owner's responsibility?
I think a lot of this,
Some of the
it may be,
signs-
I think a lot of these in other communities, the local jurisdictions saying, these are the rules for local elections, so it might be something that this court may have to address. And I think in the interim, I think, Mr. Figueroa, we can do some research on, as to what exactly we can do, and maybe bring this item back to the court.
I don't think you can tell a private citizen what they can have on their property.
Well, certainly we can.
Unless it's on the
yeah.
highway frontage, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, private land is private land.
Yeah.
You can choose to do whatever you want. Now, it's what's in the content of the sign.
Yeah, the content of the sign is something that we could
So
possibly.
that, right, but as far as who puts it up and if they wanna keep it up forever,
Yeah.
their property.
the Secretary of State, directed me to the Ethics Committee.
Uh-huh.
And the Ethics Committee told me that it was up to the local court to decide.
I think that's the
And,
case, because I've seen other jurisdictions.
From what I was told when I took over, is that is a policy that was standing, is a 90-day, before the election and 10 days.
That was what was my understanding of it too, Mr. Montes, but I haven't been able to have a document or a court order
And
showing
like-
me that to that
like-
effect.
Like they're mentioning, some of the signs are on private property, they're hooked to the fences, but there are others that are just a little bit outside the fence, which is county property. So those are the signs that are more illegal than the
Well,
others.
that is absolutely illegal. The court took action, about 6 months ago.
Yes.
Where there's no longer will it be allowed at any point in time, any type of political, signage or verbiage or anything on any type of county property, from
Like I
that.
said, some of them are in the easements or the right of ways in front of the houses. They are not attached to the fences, and, not even inside the fence, which would make it even more personal property.
I think we need to bring some clarity to this problem, because some candidates may be a little hesitant to put them on, because they might reach out to you, say, well, there's a 90-10, other candidates might be having an advantage by placing them out. So I think we need to actually address this, within a short period of time, and have a set of rules that applies to everyone, that are clear to everyone. I think is.
And there are
we can
other
set rules.
counties and municipalities in the area. Of course, this would be after the election. Past the 10 days, which is basically all over the state of Texas, they are fined. And it's sometimes very heavy, $100 per sign per day. So,
That we can set rules, we can, Judge. It's the extent of which we can fine it, and add fees to it, that is what we're, we need
I
clarification.
think we'll try to address that. I would move that we table this until we get some more research and figure out exactly what we
Mo-
can.
motion
I'll
to
reach
table
out,
it,
Judge,
Judge.
to the extent that in the court takes whatever action deemed appropriate.
Okay.
Second the motion.
Motion to table by Commissioner Garza, seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion table. Thank you, Mr. Montes, for your service to the Democratic Party. Item number 14 is to request the use of the front steps in Zapata County Courthouse on October 23rd, 2021, and April 23rd, 2022, for the DEA Drug Take Back Day.
Motion to approve it.
Thank you.
Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Mendoza. Ms. Montes, good to see you. Thank you for
I just wanted to
addressing the court, yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that we have, the drop boxes still available year round. One is at the sheriff's office and one is in San Ignacio at the JP's office. So, we do collect what is, collected there and we dispose of on the same day, which will be October 23rd and April 23rd.
It's all, you've always had good success with that program, yes, every year, so.
Yes, and thank you for always approving and allowing us.
We never let her talk, Judge.
Yeah.
We never let her get to the podium going on the motion before.
Yes, well, thank you so much
Yes,
for all your
thank you.
programs that you bring to our community.
Yes,
We
that's
thank
the
you.
next item also,
Yes, I see it, okay. So we got a motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion
We
carried.
have the contract or the agreement, one copy is for you and one copy is for us.
Yes, and this would be item number 16.
Yes.
Is to approve the annual agreement, between Serving Children and Adults in Need SCAN in Zapata County for the use of the office space and utilities at our community center.
Presented.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Solis. All those in favor say aye.
Judge,
Motion
just
carried.
for clarification, Judge, I just handed the copy of the contract.
It should be, yeah, we'll wait for,
Just-
your review.
Let me just glance at it, Judge.
It's the same contract that we renew on a yearly basis, but yes, that'd be fine.
It lists all the programs that we have in Zapata County. We have 3 and we're adding one more. That one is not on the list because we don't know the name of the program, but we will be adding one more program.
I know the Congressman Guerra mentioned that, SCAN will be receiving a substantial amount of increase in funds that will help you, better serve our community. I think some of that funding is already in place or, is coming.
It is. Well, it's in Webb County.
Yes.
And then they distribute to the satellite.
The satellite, okay.
So
All right,
we
he
will
did,
have
I did mention that we had lost some programs locally
We
here in the
did,
last few
we
years.
did.
and-
2 years ago, we lost 3 programs.
Yes.
So, Mrs. Montes, with this increase in funding, does that mean you'll be able to employ more of our local people?
It depends. If the grants are given to each county, depending on what the qualifications are. I know sometimes, we don't, meet the qualifications, like one time, you had to have a university, and we don't have a university, so we were just declined. So it depends. If we qualify for the money, Zapata gets it. And of course, the position would go to somebody in Zapata County.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you for always supporting us.
Yeah.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for the services you provide.
Going back to item number 15 is to award a contract for a biology survey for the Los Ebanos Golf Course property as requested by Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. And this would be done by Dr. Mickey W. Hellickson. And I spoke with Mr. Carlos Colino Vargas, the consultant for this project. He said the amount that the contract would be no greater than 3,600, Monica?
I think it's in the very, very back.
3,900. 3,900, okay.
a little late.
Motion to approve that as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, second by Commissioner Solis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 17 is to consider preliminary scores from TDA, Texas Department of Agriculture, for 2021-2022 Texas CDBG Community Development Grant Application. Mr. Carl Esser. Morning, Mr. Esser.
Morning, Judge.
Morning.
Commissioners.
Mr. Esser, good morning.
Staff, visitors. Wanted to share more awareness this morning to Zapata County Commissioners Court. You may recall that Esser and Company was contracted by the county. We started down here at the end of 2019. At such time, the county had 4 open contracts with the Texas Department of Agriculture. Since that time,
Yes.
So, since that time, last year, the county submitted an application, to the state agency, the Texas Department of Agriculture, for street improvements. And I wanted to bring it to the court's attention that Zapata County placed first.
That's great.
The South
Great
Texas
news.
Regional Council of Government, or South Texas Region. So you should be very proud of that.
And this is for the streets in precinct 3, I believe, Dr. Mesa, training, is this?
These funds are targeted and prioritized for Cardinal and Crane Street.
Yes, very well, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's awfully good news, Mr.
It was a
Esser.
5% match, with that $17,500 match with that project, but we've been in conversation with the state agency, and, there'll be a field staff member come do a site visit, which is very informal, and the county here, soon should be receiving an award letter from the state agency, the Texas Department of Agriculture, and there's a proposed start date on that contract of February 1, 2022.
Very good, very good news, yes. Thank you.
Needed some good news this morning.
Yes. Well, thank you for your hard work, Mr. Esser, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
You have several items, Mr. Judge.
I think with that was just a reporting item, correct, Mr. Esser? There's no action by the court on this?
Do what?
Isn't there no action on the court? You're not, no, it's just a report?
Just information.
All right, thank you. Item number 18 is to approve Esser and Company Consultant LLC to assist Zapata County with the border zone fire department grant applications. Commissioners, I reached out to Mr. Esser. We received some, I guess some grant applications, mainly, I think it's $250,000 grant application, for equipment, does it include EMS? Mr. Esser, I wonder if you could, or Dan, yes, Mr. Fire Chief?
I tried to reach out to you.
He's right here.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, I reached out, I remember we had a conversation, Judge, as far as the EMS ambulance and that it does not qualify, and Ms. Lupita Trinidad with STDC, because we had a meeting with her.
Yes.
She was gonna look into it, but that day she told me that the ambulance does not qualify for this grant. And she reached out to me this week, and she said that the EMS ambulance is eligible.
I think that's what the discussions we had with Mr., that we were hoping they would be eligible, so.
Yes, so she cleared it up, and she said that we can apply for an ambulance with that border zone grant.
And what is the grant amount? Is it $250,000?
$250,000.
That's the maximum.
From the governor's office, I
Yes.
believe. Is this-
These funds, this particular opportunity, we've been, kind of monitoring this. It comes around about every 2 years. And it's strictly for border counties. You gotta either be on the Rio Grande border or the border counties down there on the Gulf of Mexico. So, these funds can be used obviously for equipment. They're prioritized for equipment to use for emergency services, especially, with all the border operations that are going on. So it puts Zapata County in a very good position. It's the maximum amount is $250,000 and there's no match required. The deadline is November 30th. So the application will be created online in the e-grant system via the governor's office. We'll be glad to assist the county with that if they need our help. And, but it's a good opportunity.
Do we have to specify the equipment that we're gonna be requesting within that grant?
Sorry?
Do we have to specify the equipment?
Absolutely.
So besides an ambulance, what else will we be including in the grant
Once we get
application?
a quote, we'll see if there's anything else. that
I've spoken to the sheriff about a marine unit, maybe being included as part, a marine unit, for the lake patrol, for our sheriff's department, I think would qualify also, to have that, to be able to patrol a little better on the lake.
Cause an ambulance is about, what, $80,000, $90,000?
No, sir, we had discussed that, the judge had called me as far as the marine unit for the sheriff's office, and I agree it would be a great opportunity. The only bad thing is that the max on this is $250, and on a unit, we're talking about $180,000, $190,000.
Well, I think 70,000 for a marine unit, I think we could get something,
We'll make it happen.
If we could squeeze it in, of course, definitely.
all right.
But I'll get with Mr. Esser as well, and we'll start rolling.
Motion to approve item 18 as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. to approve Esther and Company to assist Zapata County with the border zone fire department grant application. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 19 is to approve Esther and Company Consulting LLC to assist Zapata County with Operation Lone Star grant application.
And this is another, I'm sure the sheriff here is very familiar with this. This one has a little narrower window. It's November 1 is the deadline. Again, this has to do with all the border operations that are going on. And, there's opportunity there for, as the sheriff knows, for the county to submit, for enhanced patrol, overtime. You can also involve the Office of Court Administration if necessary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we seeking assistance for all the departments that are gonna be applying?
Yes, so this
That'd
would
great.
be all inclusive. I spoke with your assistant, Mr. Peña, and he said that, cause I know a lot of this funding, your department does it on your own, Sheriff, these grants, but he said that it would be a great help if we could combine everything and get some assistance administratively and.
We are working on our numbers, Judge, and I think we pretty much got everything, ready to go as far as that, and then we can get it to Mr. Esser over here so he can make it look nice and pretty, so we can get some good funds in.
It should be a combined effort, one application.
One application, I think is what, yes,
I spoke with the governor yesterday one-on-one, and he did address that we need to act on it as soon as possible. I addressed a couple of the issues that Zapata has with the border crisis, and there is gonna be presence of more resources, more military, more deterrence, more troopers, more border patrol, more inwards. I asked for all these resources to prevent the situation from happening that happened in Del Rio. I believe we need to prepare and be ready for any type of crisis, especially what's happening on the border.
Yes.
And within a few days, Judge, we will be seeing more traffic of law enforcement resources here in Zapata.
Okay.
Sheriff, have we got, sorry, Judge,
Yeah, no, go ahead.
have we gotten a status update from the governor's office on that funding that we had requested?
This is it.
That's what this is.
And the appropriate wording is Operation Lone Star. And,
Yes.
we have our grant submitted, but on standby, because we need to do it as a whole.
I think we made outreach, to the, I guess, the person in charge and said, and she kind of mentioned what you said, we need to combine everything together. And when we put it together, she will combine what you already submitted
Yeah, the
together
thing-
with the other department.
The thing is, we needed to get ahead to let her know that we were gonna apply and submit as a whole.
So the sheriff has submitted something already?
Well, Zapata County as well as other counties that we've coordinated with, governor's office requested back there just 4 or 5 months ago, kind of a wish list.
And we've done that, and we've submitted that.
But now that information needs to be inserted into the online application.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, since that time, other than law enforcement, they've also incorporated, Office of the Court Administration, Service Indian, Defense.
Yes.
You know, so there's some other elements in there that if the county so chooses, that they could incorporate some additional proposed expenditures for the 2-year.
I think that we've included, I think every department has that, their budgets for all those. So we will, once we are approved, we'll move forward what we have and see how we can move quickly forward.
And I did address with the governor, Judge, that we would be combining everything together, and we would be applying as a whole.
Okay, very well.
And the budget amount was 27 million?
That's just for the sheriff's office, because of the addition for the jail, for the human trafficking violators that through the county attorney and the judge's office, we will be able to prosecute and hold them here for a while.
Motion move.
Motion by Commissioner Garza, second by Commissioner Mendoza to approve Esther and Company Consulting LLC to assist Zapata County with Operation Lone Star grant application. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Judge, for clarification on the scan, contract, Judge, I have reviewed it, Judge, and the only obligation for Zapata County is the in-kind donation of 21.6, value of the office space plus the 6,000 utilities.
Yes, it's a very, generous contribution by the county.
Yes.
So, we've got some resolutions and proclamations.
Judge, I have a brief communication for the county judge. I just received an email from the Attorney General of the state of Texas, Judge. The Attorney General, as well as many different other Attorney Generals of the United States, or I'm sorry, of different states, all filed a class action lawsuit against the makers of opioids, Judge, okay? It appears that they have a tentative agreement, Judge, so very similar to how the lawsuit occurred with the tobacco makers, Judge. There's going to be compensation for each individual municipality or local government that participated in the lawsuit. Because Zapata County is one, we will be receiving some funds from that, Judge. So I'll be able to report to the county in the future what the amounts are, but it's going to be quite a substantial amount. At least the settlement will be. So, and that's just for the all the damage that opioids have caused to individuals throughout our country.
Very well.
So, FYI. I think our first cut, I want to say it's like $63,000.
Okay.
Just, you know.
Very good.
But there might be continued payments after that.
I received a note here that, I think, you know, there were some comments about the nursing home being closed, and I just want to make sure I clarify once again that, there has been a local, ownership group that is very interested, is in discussions, to purchase and continue operating the nursing home. So for the public, the nursing home is not closing. It's a very good day that we were able to find a local company that was willing to invest their time and efforts and resources to keeping that nursing home open. So it's good news. I received a note that some people are thinking that it's closing, and it's not. It's gonna remain open, and we want our seniors to be taken care of. So it was a high priority for me when I was informed a few months ago that this may be happening. We went to work on it, and thank God there's some very good local people that are interested and love our community, and they're willing to take this on. So things look good for the nursing home. I just want to make that comment again. We'll move on to resolutions and proclamations. Item number 21 is a proclamation for Mental Illness Awareness Week. Ms. Porter, Region Behavioral Health, good morning.
Hey Sandy, good morning.
Good morning. We're here once again. Last month we were here for suicide awareness, prevention awareness. And so we'd like to thank the commissioners and you, Judge, and all of the county officials, especially our Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Del Bosque and I have worked together for many years, along with SCAN. I know they stepped out, but we all service the citizens of this county, and we do it proudly. And just like the Sheriff's Department, our staff is also on call 24 hours a day. So we're able to provide treatment to the people and the citizens of this county. So not only today do we ask for awareness, but also to help stop the stigma. And the only way we can do that is that each of one of us make sure that we bring awareness to the people around us. So we thank you and for having us once again. This month is also Down syndrome awareness, so we've been busy with a lot of awareness, right? And it's not only a month by month, but an everyday.
I know.
Judge, and of course I'm a little biased because I am the board treasurer for Border Region, but they do excellent work for us here in Zapata County. Of course, all 4 counties that we serve.
Yes.
So Sandy, thank you to you and your staff for doing an incredible job. We appreciate every single one of you.
And we also thank you, Commissioner, for being an active role in Border Region.
Thank you, Sandy.
Very
My pleasure.
positive.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Garza to approve the resolution, seconded by Commissioner Solis. Do you want me to read it, Sandy? I think it's. Yes, I'll go ahead and read it. We always do.
Can I have the staff stand, please, so that, because these are the people working in the forefront.
Yes,
so.
yes,
Can you
please, and
stand?
introduce yourselves to the community.
You can introduce. Okay, let me go down the line and introduce them. We have Jessica Hurtado, and she's our administrative tech, so everything filters through her. She's kind of the center of our office. Our new baby to the block is Lucero Boteo, and so she's our medical assistant. We have Ms. Nora Peña, who is our support and maintenance person. Yes. We have Sandra Moore, who does our IDD consumer, so she's our therapist tech. Then we also have Ms. Debbie Moore, she's our RN, who services IDD. We have an LVN, Joanna Villanueva, who is also located here at the Zapata office. We have our
Director of Nursing, Laura Solis. We have our CAPS Director, Jackie Lopez. And we have Ms. Laura Palomo, our Adult Behavioral Health Director.
Well, thank you, ladies, for helping our community. And go ahead and read the proclamation.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but we have some more people in the back since they weren't sitting here. We have our HR Director, it says that,
Welcome.
Vasquez. Then we have Rene Gonzalez. He's our Director of our CCBHC program, which we're moving towards getting certification from the federal government. And then we also have Ms. Bridget Vasquez, who also works in that department. My apologies.
Thank you for everything you did for us. Proclamation for Mental Awareness Week. Whereas mental health is part of overall health, and whereas 1 in 5 adults experiences a mental health problem in any given year, and whereas approximately 1/2 of chronic mental illness begins by the age of 14 and 3/4 by the age of 24, and whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States and the 2nd leading cause among young adults, and 90% of people who die by suicide have an underlying mental illness. And whereas long delays, sometimes decades, often occur between time symptoms first appear and when individuals get help. And whereas early identification and treatment can make a difference in successful management of mental illness and recovery. And whereas it is important to maintain mental health and learn the symptoms of mental illness in order to get help when it is needed. And whereas every citizen and community can make a difference in helping end the silence and stigma that for too long has surrounded mental illness and discouraged people from getting help. And whereas public education and civic activities can encourage mental health and improve the lives of individuals and families affected by mental illness. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Joseph Rathbone, Zapata County Judge, do hereby proclaim October 3rd through October 9th, 2021 as Mental Illness Awareness Week in Zapata County to shine a light on mental illness and fight stigma, provide support, and educate the public and advocate for equal prayer. Thank you. We can take a picture.
Can we get someone else to take the picture so he can get on?
Need a panoramic. Panoramic big.
You can do that on the Samsung.
You can lower the mic and make a little.
Like Samsung says
That's it.
I know.
Yo no la voy a hacer falta tus apoyos. Oh my God, make it.
Yes, yes, good seeing you. Thank you for coming.
just a formality, Judge, on the grants we've already.
Yes, item number 22 is to approve resolution to apply for the border zone, the fire department grant to the governor's office.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to approve, second by Commissioner Solis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 23 is to approve resolution to apply for Operation Lone Star Grant to
Motion
the
moved.
Governor's Office. Motion by Commissioner Garza, seconded by Commissioner Mendoza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We've got some, street lights, 2506 Iturbide and 206
Motion to approve.
and Ramirez Street.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Solis to approve, second by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have one executive session item. The item to discuss is to discuss and take possible action on update and possible action on border wall litigation. And this will be heard under executive sessions requested pursuant to Texas Government Code Title 5, Subchapter D, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. I need a motion
Judge,
to.
motion to go into executive session.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to enter into executive session, seconded by Commissioner Solis. We are now in executive session. Yes, sir.
Garcia, thank you so much for being here.
Judge, we're on.
And then after today, you don't miss being a commissioner.
All right, yeah. Call me the right chair.
Thank you.
Judge, we're on.
We're on, I need a motion.
Motion to go back into regular
I'll
session.
second. Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to return to regular session, second by Commissioner Solis. For the record, no action was taken in executive session. Item number 20, Commissioners, is to discuss and take possible action on update and possible action on border wall litigation.
Judge, I'll make a motion that we authorize Carlos Flores to negotiate with the federal government on the issue of the right of entry on Zapata County property.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn, Judge?
Motion by Commissioner Mendoza to adjourn, second by Commissioner Elizondo. We are now adjourned. Thank you. Those of you still in the audience, for being with us this morning.